Hello and welcome back to Dreamwalker Tarot. My name is Dawn and this is the March reading for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and Mercury. Please go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell for post notifications. This month, I will be working with the Celtic cross spread. And the first card that comes out in the position of your current situation and what you're currently going through is the High Priestess in reverse. The High Priestess in reverse is an indication that you're kind of in a period of withdrawal, really kind of staying to yourself. And there is a sense that there's like a disconnection from your intuition. You know, Scorpios, that you guys are one of the most intuitive signs in the zodiac, and so this feels like it's off from your normal nature to be in tune. It feels like you're not really flowing like you normally do, and what is crossing you is the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. When we see the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, it's an indication that luck is not really on our side. So this is like a turn of bad luck. It's also a sign of like breaking cycles and doing old things a different sort of way, right? So what is crossing you is that like you're having a turn of bad luck, and it feels like your bad luck is the reason why you're kind of like, you know, a little bit off from your normal self. So why the High Priestess is in the reverse is because, you know, there's something not clicking with you right now, and there is a sense that you're having bad luck. It could be like one is causing the other, or the other is causing the other, if that makes sense. So it could be that the bad luck is what's causing you to kind of like fall back and withdraw, or it could be that your withdrawal is the reason why you're having bad luck, because you're not listening to your intuition. But I do want to actually pull clarifying cards for those two cards so that we can kind of look a little bit deeper into that. The clarification for the High Priestess card is the Heart card and the Whip card. And this is the Lenormand Oracle deck that I'll be using for clarifications. And so this is an indication that the reason why you might be falling back, the reason why you're kind of having a little bit of difficulty right now and not kind of really feeling yourself, is due to love. The Heart card is a symbol of love, of affection, of romantic love, and the Whip is an indication of like pain. And so this is a conflict about love. This is possibly a fight between you and someone that you love. This person could be a Pisces person. They could also be a Virgo person, because this card actually just showed up in the Virgo reading. And so some of you might be dealing with a Pisces, or you might be dealing with a Virgo. But needless to say, there seems to be some sort of an ending, or an argument, a lover's quarrel. But specifically, the Whip card is really like a symbol of hate, right? And so there's some hate attached there, hate along with love. So it feels like a very mixed type of bag for a very mixed type of situation. And looking at the clarification cards for the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, the cards that clarify that are the Scythe card, the Bear card, and the Stork card. And so when we see the Scythe is an indication that this is like a sudden ending, right? A sudden ending with someone who is a dominant person, a dominant individual, because the bear is like a dominant type of energy. And so there is a sense that this is like a dominating type of person. And so something has come to an end, right? And with this being the clarifier for the Wheel of Fortune, it feels like this is an opportunity to have a transformative experience. It doesn't really feel like that for you. But with the Stork card here, the Stork card is a card that indicates transformation, sudden transformation. So this ending of this situation, of this dynamic with this person that you have affection for, is triggering you to kind of look at yourself and look at the possibility for change and transformation in your life. And if you're not, I feel like this is a cycle. This is something that keeps happening over and over and over again with the wheel card here. It indicates like a cycle. It indicates like a pattern. And so it's whatever it is that you're into in terms of like a cyclical pattern, particularly with you. It could be like if you suffer from bouts of depression, or like if you end up in relationships that don't necessarily work out, and then you get into an argument or discrepancy with someone, and it's like a bitter fight, and then it's like an ending, and then it's over. This feels like a pattern, like a cycle that keeps happening, and it really feels like this is the opportunity to kind of cycle yourself out of that pattern, so that your wheel of fortune and your luck in terms of relationships can improve. Now, I kind of feel like with the High Priestess here in reverse, and also the wheel in reverse, it feels like I said this is like a pattern type of situation that you tend to get yourself involved in often, where you start relationships or start situations with people who might not necessarily be the best for you. And I feel like intuitively you know that it's true, but you still do it anyway, right? And then, at the end, you get very upset with yourself because it's like, damn, like I didn't listen and I knew it. I freaking knew it. And so now this is an opportunity at the end of this cycle to be like, okay, I did know this. And now moving forward, I'm definitely going to employ a different method and a different way of handling it, and completely leaning into trusting my intuition moving forward, so that I can avoid these types of endings. And so this is an opportunity for that change to happen, right? In the past, the card that comes out for you guys is the Page of Swords. And so this would be the past of your current situation. And so this is like the new start, right? So this card is essentially the start of this new relationship. I feel like you had a lot of curiosity about this person, and really tried to kind of like do things differently this time around. Yeah. So the Page is someone who is like a very curious mind, a very curious nature, thirst for knowledge, thirst for understanding, is looking for a new way to communicate with people, to communicate ideas, to express themselves. And I feel like that is how this whole situation kind of started out. But I'm hearing that you had a little bit of difficulty with that, because it didn't feel like you. It didn't feel like you were being yourself. It felt like you were trying a different method or a different way of being than you normally are, and it didn't feel like you. Yeah. And so it made the communication with this person a little bit difficult, because you were trying to employ, like I said, a different method, and it just didn't feel like you. In your conscious understanding of the situation, the card that came out is the Eight of Pentacles, and so that is you working. You're literally working. So consciously, I feel like you were making an effort, right? You're making an effort to really communicate in different ways, to kind of like tap into other elements of yourself, and to really actively put in the energy and the effort and the work into this new dynamic, so that you can yield positive results. For some of you, this could be magical workings. But yeah, you were definitely putting in the energy and the effort into the situation for it to work. And so at the subconscious level, we have the Ten of Swords. And so this is like the ending, right? But it's a painful ending. The Ten of Swords is a painful ending, and trying to kind of like move past that and move beyond the hurt, right? And this hurt is, again, she's looking back towards the Page of Swords. So, really kind of like thinking about everything that happened, how it happened, why it happened. And I feel like there's like a lot of ruminating over the ending, and which is kind of like restricting your ability to kind of move away from it and to let it go and to move past it. The clarification for the Ten of Swords is the Letter card and the Ship card. And so it feels like, this is something that you cannot get over, right? Okay. For some of you, you could have received some sort of correspondence, a letter, an email, a text, whatever it was. It wasn't necessarily to your face. And this relationship that ended, or the situation might have been a long distance relationship, or they moved away from you, or they moved away from you and it's like you got the news of them leaving maybe after the fact, or so it was something about the way that it was communicated to you that it was over that was really painful to you, right? And so it feels like like the ship here is, a symbol for a couple of things. Like I said, it's a symbol for a long distance relationship, whether it be a physically distant relationship or an emotionally physically relationship. The ship is talking about like traveling and journeys, but it's not just an external journey, it's also an internal journey. And so this is also the opportunity for you to release the things that you are holding on to, because it really feels like you're holding on to a painful ending, and not allowing yourself to heal from the painful ending because you're constantly rethinking it or hashing it in your head. And so as a result, you're like robbing yourself of the opportunity and the ability to heal and to move into like the next phase of your life, into that wheel phase where you turn your wheel upside down and you turn it upright and have the opportunity to kind of start something new, a different way this time, right? A different way than you normally do, so that you can yield different results. I see here with the Eight of Pentacles that it feels like this was something that you were trying to build into a bigger relationship, like, longevity, to be prosperous and abundant within this dynamic, and even also just within yourself. But I feel like you were working really hard for that, right? And so I understand that there is a sense of like loss attached to this relationship, just because you had what appears to be like a lot of hopes and a lot of dreams regarding this particular situation. And so in the near future, the card that comes out is the Ten of Wands. The Ten of Wands is like a sense of being overburdened and overwhelmed, but it's in the reverse. And so I feel like we have the Ten of Wands here. We have the Ten of Swords. The wheel is a 10, and 10 in tarot is a symbol of endings, but there are endings that aren't necessarily going all the way through because they're all in the reverse. The wheel, the Ten of Swords, the Ten of Wands, all in the reverse. And so basically like there's this energy here to hold on. And if you see this Ten of Wands, with all the luggage and the baggage, and she's schlepping it from one place to the next, like walking towards the wheel in the reverse. Like all of these cards point directly to the wheel in reverse. And it's like a loop, it's a boomerang. It never ends and it just keeps going. And so there really is, like I said, there is an opportunity to move forward in a different way, employing a different method, using your intuition to guide you in terms of making decisions about who you want to enter into relationships with. Because at a certain point, making the same mistake over and over and over and over and over again is damaging, like it's hurtful. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to keep dragging yourself through this type of situation. So I feel like this, like I said, is an opportunity to try things in a different way so that you can win at this wheel of fortune. It's an opportunity to make a change. It's an opportunity to have an ending, to let go, to release all of the painful things that have happened to you, all the baggage that you're carrying. Some of you might have to move, move from where you're living now to, someplace else. I see that also, but I want to pull some clarifiers for the Ten of Wands. And so the clarification for the Ten of Wands is the mice card and the letter card, which again is a form of communication, but this communication seems to be like a really bad conversation. It indicates like some sort of disease. You might be getting information about a disease. You might be getting information about an illness. You might be, if this is the person that you used to talk to or used to communicate with, you might find that the communication is pretty much shot, and that is kind of like eroding also. So I kind of feel like things are slowly going to take a toll because of this conversation that you're going to have. Like I said, it might be a conversation where you find out that, where you're staying, you won't be able to stay there anymore. And so it's basically like things are starting to kind of like disintegrate in terms of like your security. And I feel like really and truly, that's all you've been working towards is your security. But it feels like this conversation or this information that comes to you, or, it's some sort of communication that happens. It's not going to be a good conversation. And that is in the near future, right? I want to pull some cards for that, actually. I'm going to use the traditional Rider-Waite. Okay, so this conversation is with a Knight of Swords is the person the conversation is with. And this communication is with the person who is a Libra, a Gemini, or an Aquarius person. Because we have Aquarius and we have Libra, we have Gemini. And it is regarding the Star and the Ace of Pentacles. So for some of you, this star is a person. It could be an Aquarius individual as well. And it's regarding money. It's regarding money that's being given to this Aquarius person. And so there's a conversation that happens regarding that, and it is not a good conversation. It's basically everything goes to shit. Excuse my language. But so that's kind of like what that is about, because I was trying to figure out what that was about. So that's what that is about. Let's move into what your current action is, and that is being represented here by the Queen of Wands. And so this is an indication that you're out, like you're out in the streets. You are enjoying your life. You're being a social butterfly. You're partying. You're having a good time. And so that is running extremely contrary to what we just had before, with the High Priestess in reverse and the wheel, the wheel and the ten of Wands and the 10 of. So I feel like this is kind of like the energy that you're putting out. I feel like you are moving into your new start and moving to start over and just kind of moving ahead. But I want to just, say that, you have to clear it out, right? You can't front it off. You have to clear it out. You can't fake it till you make it. I feel like there is some sort of internal work that has to happen before you go into another relationship. or a situation. I feel like there's a lot of things kind of like open-ended and unfinished in terms of the way that the information comes into you. I feel like you don't necessarily speak how you feel or say things in a or put how you feel out there, right? So your things aren't being said, but things are being said to you. I feel like there is a truth that needs to happen here. I feel like there are some things that need to be verbalized here, that you need to verbalize. But yeah, so you're employing the Queen of Wands energy. So some of you, again, the Eight of Pentacles earlier came out, and I kind of felt like there was like some magic happening here, and that the Queen of Wands basically kind of doubles down on that. So some of you might be using like magical things to kind of like, move forward, working on yourself, working on getting abundant, working on stability, working on trying to manifest, a new job, or, more money, or a better house, or a better space into your life. And I feel like some of you are using magical workings to do so. While, like I said, being out and about and being like a social butterfly and being like the life of the party and hanging out. At the subconscious level, which is a factor that is happening in the situation that is, outside of you and outside of yourself. The card that comes up is the Five of Swords. So again, this is an idea of conflict, right? This is, again, disagreements, a competition, arguing, winning at all costs. Like, this card is an indication that, you're having a discrepancy with someone. There's like a lot of tension. You're going to war with them. You're fighting, and you may win. You may win the argument. But then it's like, when it's all said and done, it feels like, okay, I just lost a lot more than I intended to, or like you win, but you don't really feel like you won, right? And so it's like an indication that you're missing something, right? As a result of this argument. And I feel like you're walking away with like a sense of, feeling really defeated. And so, there's an indication here that sometimes you have to kind of like pick your battles, getting into arguments with people, that just don't really like, you don't need to fight about every single point all the time, right? Because sometimes that just kind of breaks down like the level of communication. And I really feel like there is like a breakdown overall in the level of communication happening here with you and, these other people that are, popping up in your reading. The Pisces, we have Libra, Gemini, and Aquarius. So it's just the level of communication. So if you do find that you're involved in like these situations where you're constantly having these arguments and you're walking away from them feeling like you lost more than you won, then it's an indication that you need to kind of just kind of certain things, just, don't fight over everything. Not everything is worth fighting over, right? In the position of your hopes and your fears and your dreams, we have the Ace of Swords in reverse. So this is an indication that there's a little bit of cloudiness in the way that you're thinking. And I feel like you might not necessarily be 100% clear on what it is that you're fighting over for some of you, or if you're explaining yourself correctly, or if that person is understanding where you're coming from, or if you understand what they're saying or where they're coming from. Because I feel like you aren't necessarily sure what the issue is between the two of you. I feel like you are a little bit unclear about that. And so it seems like there's like the communication is just completely off. I feel like I just said that, but yeah, the communication is like off. And so there's like a lack of clarity. And also there's a lack of honesty and there's a lack of truth, whether this is you not necessarily being 100% honest about something, or whether this is them not being 100% honest, but there's definitely a lack of honesty here. And I want to pull clarifiers for that. The clarification for the Ace of Swords in reverse is the House and the Fox card. So there is definitely some deception happening here. And this is like within the framework of your home. So it could be like, a family member, someone that's in your family, someone that you live with, someone that shares a space with you. And the fox here is an indication that there's some sort of selfishness happening within this family dynamic. And so selfishness is definitely playing a role in this whole family structure. But there's also some suspicion with someone. They might be looking at you suspiciously because of the way that you choose to live your life, or you might be looking at them suspiciously because of the way they choose to live their life. Like they do things that's not necessarily of the norm. And so there is like a little bit of a suspicious, the way that you're looking at them suspiciously. But it kind of feels like there's like this element of self like preservation, like the fox is stealth, and there's like a sense that he does what he needs to do for self-preservation. So that kind of feels like even though you're in the house together, there's like a sense of self-preservation. So the family itself isn't necessarily feeling like a family, if that makes any sense. If it isn't happening, I feel like you're thinking that it's happening. Either way, you feel like there's some deception happening, and you would be correct. So like I said, whether that's you or whether that's someone else, someone is definitely being dishonest within the confines of the house and the space that they share, that you guys share. And so the final card that comes out for you guys is the Justice card. And so, I mean, I feel like ultimately, no matter what happens, justice is always served, right? I feel like I just did this actually for the Libra reading. So some of you might be dealing with a Libra, or you could have Libra in your chart, but ultimately justice is always going to be served. So if there's deception, these things always come to the surface. Any type of anything that is done in terms of like manipulation of energy, the universe always balances itself out. And so at the end, no matter what happens, things will balance themselves out. Like I said in the beginning, this is an opportunity for growth. This is an opportunity to transform and to change and to really kind of like take the things that you've been through and use them as a catalyst for change, right? So that you can kind of get out of like this repetitive cycle of dealing with things that don't necessarily give you what it is that you need. So I'm going to pull some advice cards for you guys. And the advice cards are coming from the Angels and Ancestors Oracle deck. And the first card that came out for you guys is the Moon card. And some of you guys are definitely dealing with a Libra because legit, this is the same advice card that they got also. So the Moon card is saying to take note of intuitive messages. Use your intuition, practice discernment, see through illusions and blockages. The Moon is strongly associated with the divine feminine and the energy of receiving. If the Sun is God, the Moon is Goddess, and so she offers a powerful energy of polarity and balance. She has a why can't I say this word? Cyclic energy, and is therefore strongly connected to emotions which often come and go in waves, and to somewhat interesting behavior. So when the Moon appears in a reading, you are often being told that not everything is as it seems. The Moon has a dark side, just dark, not negative, and can show you what you've been kept in the dark about. Lunar energies are surrounding your life, allowing you to understand what is standing in your way. Not everything is as it seems, and you're being guided to use your discernment. When the Moon appears, intuitive or psychic urges are increased, so take note of any feelings arising at this time. They are messages from your soul and angels. The Moon shines her light on all that has been kept in the dark, so ask yourself if you are avoiding anything or refusing to deal with something of importance. If so, it could be holding you in the shadows when your destiny is to be in the light. If this card appears when you feel someone isn't being completely real with you, know that their intentions will be revealed to you. The Moon has no secrets. She reveals all. So ultimately, like I said, this is really about using your intuition to guide you in terms of making decisions about who you want to deal with. But also, if you're picking up something and you're feeling like something is not being told to you, or it's going to be revealed. So all things are revealed in time. And so you just kind of pay attention to what shows up for you. The next card is the Mountain card. This card is saying to stand your ground, hold firm to what you believe in or are focusing on because it is absolutely right. Know that heaven and earth are supporting you. Mountains are strong and wise. They are rooted deep in the earth and reach high into the sky. They've been where they are for thousands of years. They have been home to animals, they've been climbed by humans, and they've seen seasons come and go. No matter what has happened to them, they have remained strong, immovable, and unshakable. And so they offer the spiritual energies of strength and resilience. Mountain energy is powerful because it's firmly rooted in the Great Mother and reaches high to the Great Father. If you're feeling challenged or pressured at this time, know that your spirit is more powerful than you think. You are resilient and grounded, and the energy and air of the mountains is giving you the unshakable strength to be who you are. Take time to root yourself deeply in the energy of the earth before welcoming in the energies of heaven. If you're not sure what you need to do next, the Mountain card invites you to stay exactly where you are, talk things over with those around you, and know that change will come to you. You will be whole and well at the end of this current situation, and it will not stand in the way of your future growth and expansion. And so honestly, I feel like that's literally all we've been talking about, is the ability to like move on from something, to let go of the things that have hurt you, and to really be in a space where you can change and transform and grow and expand. And so that is like a really good way for this reading to end. I feel like that is like the perfect message for you guys. And also one more thing, be yourself. Don't change who you are for anyone else. Be yourself, okay? So that is the end of the reading, and I want to thank you so much for listening. Please go ahead and like the video, share your thoughts and your comments in the box below. Also share the video with someone who you feel could benefit from it. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for post notifications. Thank you for being here again, and I will see you soon.